Well, first of all, as it's Elder Hour and Elder First Festival, I would like to thank all the elders for healing the chaos in our life with your gentle touch and giving us motivation to tread the path with valor, even if it means passing through the thorns. So, as a token of gratitude for all your love and care, we have been celebrating India's first ever Elder Festival. So, for today's Elder Hour, we have a very well known pranic healer, Anupama Das Gupta. And of course, as you all know, she will be discussing the topic from darkness to light. It is said, you cannot defeat darkness by running from it, nor can you conquer your inner self by hiding them from the world. In order to defeat the darkness, you must bring it into light. There is nothing like darkness or light. It is all about how and what we want to believe in. The dance between darkness and light will always be there in our lives. But there also exists moon and stars in us, which can only be seen in these moments of darkness. Life throws challenges, and it always comes with the light to conquer it. And to live a life where we can enjoy the best of ourselves and live in each moment. So for this, I'm going to invite Anupama to guide us through this path. And just to tell you a little more about Anupama, though I know she always tells me to keep it a little short, but still, since a lot of people are joining in new, I would just like to give a brief introduction on her. Anupama has more than 20 years of experience in HR and has a keen interest in spiritual studies and practices. She has been associated with eRevMax, a leading provider of distribution, connectivity, and revenue management solutions to the hospitality industry. For more than 7 years, she's an MBA in Human Resources from School of Communication and Management Studies, Kochi. Anupama began her career in the manufacturing industry before moving to ABP Private Limited, one of the biggest media houses in India, where she handled corporate HR responsibilities for 8 years. But what she's really interested in, that she's a pranic healer, and she describes herself as a seeker of spiritual knowledge, researching and working on combining spirituality with management practices. So Anupama, wonderful to have you here again with us. And all the earlier sessions with you have really been wonderful and very, very enlightening. So look forward to today's evening also. So welcome once again to our Elder Hour program. This is the first time you're joining us here. So really great to have you. So over to you now, Anupama.
Thank you so much, Ritu. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are. Yes.
Okay, great. So thank you so much. I always look forward to coming to this platform. So whenever you call me, even if I don't return your calls and return your messages, I'm always very, I have this apprehension, very nice kind of apprehension, that what is it going to be this time? So when you asked me that what the topic is going to be, I just thought of this concept, from darkness to light. And I have prepared some slides which I will take everyone through, but that will be more like an exercise. So what do we mean by darkness really? One way of describing darkness is that everything is black, okay? And we normally, okay,
it says, can you please increase the audio?
I think my audio is...
Yeah, now we can hear you clearly.
Okay, so let me just keep the, I'm just trying this new thing on the laptop. Let me just keep the microphone here, then it'll be better perhaps. So, darkness means something we associate with blackness. And though there is a beauty in the beautiful stars that we see and which we can see only because of darkness, we also have a kind of fear, actually quite an irrational kind of fear, which is associated with darkness. Okay, so we always think that black is bad and white is good. just think about it. We always, associate good things with lighter things, with brighter things. So I thought that, let's just look into this, and together let us explore and let us reflect upon what are the different aspects of darkness in our life, and how can we move from this dark area to light. Being a pranic healer, I believe that there is energy that works for us, and it also works against us. This energy is something, you can describe it as a field that surrounds our body, and we are like a sponge which are soaked inside this energy body. So each of us have our own energy body, and this darkness, sometimes in the form of impurities, in the form of negative thoughts, negative emotions, and things like irrational fear, also exist in our energy body. So we are, when we exist, when we live in the world, we are also influenced by the energy that we have and the energy that we exchange with people. So I tried to think that how best to describe darkness. Darkness could be described as the absence of light, right? Because the moment you light even a small lamp inside a dark room, it's not dark anymore. So what is this light that we are talking about then? Let us explore this so I came across this prayer which we often use in meditation as well, and which I have used in some of the sessions that we've had in this group. That is the meditation on twin hearts. And there we use the prayer of Saint Francis of Assisi. Now, in this prayer, there are some beautiful lines, which it basically goes like this, that Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. And then it says that wherever there are all these negative energies, let me sow the opposite polarity. Let me sow, where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, let me sow pardon. Okay? Where there is sadness, let me bring joy. Let there be joy. Where there is darkness, let there be light. So we will go through each of these aspects. I thought this beautifully explains what we normally go through in our life, which is called darkness. See, we all have electricity today. So in that sense, we don't really live in darkness. We don't need to light candles unless there's a power cut or something like that. So what is this darkness then that we are talking about? So it will be interesting perhaps to understand this in different aspects of our life, and to actually reflect that what is it that we can do in our day-to-day life about something that is really, really bothering us. So that is my attempt with these slides that I'm going to share. And this, of course, I've taken the inspiration from the prayer of Saint Francis of Assisi. After we go through the slides, we will perhaps, try to still our energy by doing a meditation, which is a different kind of a meditation. I promise you, it's not the same thing that we've done before. So, okay, with that, let me just start sharing the slides one by one. So what we are going to do is, and this is perhaps something that I have learned from people that I look up to in my life. So including my spiritual guru. So what I will try to do is maybe ask certain questions, and we can all sit comfortably and just relax and think about this, really think about this, and understand that what is the change that we can make to remove this darkness and to bring more light. So the first thing that the prayer talks about is that wherever there is hatred, let there be love. Let me sow seeds of love. So we are all not beings of love. Like, we are not all the Buddhas and the great ones. We still get irritated with people, especially in relationships. We tend to get angry with people. We tend to dislike certain things about certain people. And sometimes we carry that with us, when we are living our day-to-day life. So I would request you to think about those relationships in life where you think there is hatred. Now, it's a very strong word, hatred. So please don't get stuck to the word, but just try to think that where is there absence of love? Like we said, darkness is absence of light. So if there is hatred, there is definitely absence of love. So what are those areas? Just take a minute. Is it in your close relations? Is it in, with friends? Is it in any relationship which is, at your work? What kind of relationship is there where you feel that there is absence of love? It may not be from your side, it may not be from the other person's side. So we are not putting blame over here. We are not trying to pin accountability that this person does not show enough love and respect. But all we are trying to see is that in that relationship, is there absence of love? In fact, it could also be absence of love for self. Okay. I'm sure you would have identified some areas by now, maybe one, maybe many. But there are some that must have come to your conscious awareness. So let us look at what love can do. I often take the example of a parent and a child. So we obviously love our children, and we love all children actually. But when we are raising children, do we love them? We definitely do. In fact, they say that one of the most intimate relationships that a person can have is between a mother and child, or between a parent and child. So we definitely love our children, but there are times when we have to use harsh words. But why do we use those harsh words? Why are we strict with them? Why do we discipline them? For their own good. So it's not about the behavior that we exhibit, but it's the intention with which we do it. Supposing I have diabetes, okay, and I love sweets, and in my house everyone tells me you cannot eat sweets. I cannot say that they don't love me. I know that they want the best for me. They want me to have a long life, and they want me to have a healthy life, and that is why they are being strict with me. Okay, so love I have realized is a thing which actually makes everything very sweet. So even if you have to take a bitter pill, if it's coated with honey, then it becomes sweet. So we don't mind taking that bitter pill. So the prayer goes like this, that make me an instrument, make me a channel of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me bring your love. Now examine those areas where there is lack of love and think about ways in which love can be actually exhibited or love can be brought in, because then there will be light in that area. Just take a minute and just think about it. Maybe just make one note in your mind that this is what I'm going to change. In fact, love is not just for our loved ones or our relatives. It is also for friends. It is also for our community. It is also for the nation. It is also for the world. It is not restricted to only humankind. It is also applicable to all living beings. So the plants that are around us, the animals that live around us. So wherever there is lack of love, how can we bring that love? Okay, so let's move on to the next one. This is one of my favorite topics, and I think some of you who may have attended my earlier sessions may have gone through the forgiveness prayer that we normally do. So wherever there is injury, I've used one Hindi word over here, Shati, but it could be some other word also. So injury means where we are harming, where there is harmfulness. So wherever there is injury, let there be pardon या फिर क्षमा. Now, when we are asking for these energies, when we are asking for these blessings, we are channelizing this to the whole world. We must first look that where is it that I am actually holding other people accountable for my unhappiness? Do I feel that because my parents forced a certain choice on me, I have been unhappy all my life? I could have done much better. I could have been much better. Do I feel that because of me, there are other people who have been hurt? So at this moment, I would just request you to think of the people who you think have hurt you. It could even be your parents. I know that most of the people over here are elders, but some of these feelings that we keep within ourselves, which we are not even aware of anymore, go back right to the time when we were children, and things that our parents have done to us, how we have related to our parents. So whatever comes to your mind, just put those people in front of you. Think of all those people, your parents, your close relatives, your friends, your family, your children, your spouse, maybe even your company or your boss. So just think of all those people and just imagine that they are standing in front of you. Now, I would request you to just put your hands like this on your heart. Close your eyes. Just follow my words. Look at all these people standing in front of you who you think have hurt you in some way. Maybe a small hurt, maybe a big hurt. It doesn't matter. Whoever comes to your mind, just put them in front of you with folded hands. Smile at them. Look at them and say Namaste. I salute the divinity within you. Namaste. We are all children of God and we all make mistakes. I forgive you for the mistakes that you have made and for the hurt and the pain that you have caused me. Whether it was knowingly or unknowingly, it doesn't matter. I still forgive you. Now just take a deep breath. As you exhale, let go of all your anger and your resentment. Even a small drop of that, if you feel it is there inside you, just let it go. If you feel sadness and grief, again inhale, and as you exhale, just let go of all your sadness and your grief. If you want to add more people to this group in front of you, you can keep on adding. And you can keep on truly forgiving them from your heart. Sometimes it is not easy, but we don't have to go to people and tell them that I forgive you, because they will think that, has this person gone a bit bonkers? But while we are sitting, while we are quiet, while we are alone, we can always do this in our inner mind. Truly forgive them. I forgive you from my heart. May we be blessed with divine forgiveness. Go in peace. As you say go in peace, just visualize that these people are smiling back at you. Then they turn away and walk away from you. And all the connections that you have with these people, of that hate, the grief, the sadness, the resentment, the anger, everything gets disconnected. It just breaks. Okay? Please please open your eyes for a moment? Now, by doing this exercise, what we are doing is that internally we are just letting go of everything that we are holding on to against people who may have hurt us in some way in the past. So we are just letting go of everything. It doesn't mean that the people will not do the same thing again, because that is their journey. But in our journey, we are not willing to carry this baggage anymore. And so we are just letting it go. All right. So once we have forgiven the people who we think have hurt us, now we will ask for forgiveness from people who we think we might have hurt. And again, this is a very, very private thing. We are not discussing this with anyone. So your deepest, darkest secret, wherever you feel that you might have hurt someone or caused someone harm, just think of all those people. Again, visualize them standing in front of you. Once again, we will just fold our hands in front of our heart. Look at these people, smile at them, and say Namaste. I salute the divinity within you. Namaste. We are all children of God, and we all make mistakes. I have also made my share of mistakes, and I am truly, truly sorry for the hurt and the pain that I might have caused you. Now, if you have any feelings of guilt, just let go of that feeling. When you're asking for forgiveness, have the belief and the faith that you will be forgiven. Let go of all the negative emotions that you can feel coming out of you. Just exhale them out of your system. Thank you for forgiving me. May we be blessed with divine forgiveness. Once we learn our lessons and once we regret if we have done anything wrong, then we are bound to be forgiven. So let us also make a promise that we will try our best not to repeat these mistakes. Thank you for forgiving me. Now smile at these people again and say, go in peace. Visualize them, smile back at you, turn away from you, and walk away from you. And all the cords and chains that connect you to these people are getting completely cut. Feel the inner peace, feel the stillness and the calmness. And slowly open your eyes. So this is an exercise. It's a very simple thing. We just have to recognize that other people are also souls and everyone makes mistakes because we are all evolving. So just like children make mistakes and we don't really punish them for their mistakes, right? We tell them what is right and wrong. Once they realize their mistake, the punishment also ends. So if someone is grounded because they did not come back home and they did not inform the parents, that they will be late, they may be grounded for some time. But once they are truly sorry and once the parents realize that, then they are automatically forgiven. So what we are trying to do through these exercises is practice this inner forgiveness so that, sometimes it is very awkward to actually own up our mistakes in front of people, but internally we are free to do that in our own private space. So this is a very, very useful exercise. It actually releases a lot of energy that we have been holding on to, which prevents us from becoming the light that we truly are. So this is a form of darkness perhaps that we hold inside us. Another way of looking at this is that whenever there is something that someone does wrong in future, we take the right action, but we internally forgive the person. We don't hold anything against people. So it's very difficult to do, but it's just a reminder that, perhaps this path is going to lead to greater happiness. It is going to lead from darkness to light. So this is one more thing that that the prayer talks about, that from injury lead me to pardon. So wherever there is lack of pardon, the hurt will continue. So you see that in the picture, there is this chain, and then there are these birds which are flying. So what this denotes is that when we don't forgive, we are like as if held together in chains. The moment we forgive, we let go of that feeling. Through forgiveness, we become free. And it doesn't matter what the other person does, but as long as we do this, we are free. You will notice this. It will bring a lot of peace and calmness. It will perhaps improve certain relations. It will improve situations. Okay, so we'll move on to the next one. Wherever there is doubt, let there be faith. So what does this mean? Sometimes, especially in these pandemic conditions, we have been almost hopeless. Like we've tried all that we we wanted to do. Sometimes we have not been able to do that. And then we just leave it to a higher force. Whether we believe in God or not believe in God, it doesn't matter. But we do believe that there is something beyond us. And then we just leave it up to that something beyond. So what does doubting mean? Doubting mean not having faith that things are going to be all right. This happens when we do not understand our actual potential. We do not understand who we really are. When we identify just with the physical body or with the material things, but we lose sight of who we actually are. Okay. So wherever there is doubt, and you will see that in nature, there is no place for doubt. Everything works according to its own pattern, according to its own programming. So we are also programmed to be certain things, and we will be those things. This does not mean that we surrender everything and we don't take any action, but this means that have faith, have the belief that things are going to be what they are meant to be. So I think that people, who have spent more years on this earth than some other people who have spent lesser years, out of our own experience, we know that this is true. Wherever there is lack of faith, there is doubt. Wherever there is doubt, there is fear. Now that fear can translate into anger, that fear can translate into aggression, that fear can translate into not being able to do anything, lack of confidence. However, faith actually gives us strength. So I will not speak much about this because I think this picture speaks a lot. And I think most of the people in this group would have experienced the power of faith. So then I would like to move on to the next one. So, when we sit in the morning, all of us, most of us would be praying in the morning. Why do we do that? We actually do this to anchor our energy with something higher. And we have the belief and we have the faith that energy, that higher energy is actually going to pull us through the day. So when we have a difficult day ahead, we pray even more. That is a form of practice of faith, perhaps. Okay. Let's move on to the next one. Wherever there is despair, let there be hope. Now, this situation that we have gone through and we are still going through is a very, very good example of this. I have heard so many stories. So in my organization, every fortnight, I have this session where I call people from the company to share their story of what they have gone through during the pandemic. And when they share their story, it shows that hope always wins. And hope does not have to be something that is very big and miraculous. It is just that little, that little bit of strength which stays with us despite everything, despite all adversity. So after every night, there is a day. After every, so there is a lowest point. I remember that when some of my friends were going through very, very challenging times in their life, I used to tell them that there is a point to which you will go down. After that, you're bound to come up. There has to be some point, no, there that going down ends, and then you're going to come up. So just hold on to that fact, that belief that someday you're going to come up. So hope can actually give a lot of strength. And like they say, hope is the last thing. See, if we don't have hope, then we don't have anything in life. There is only despair. So I would again, request you to look at life the way it is for us now, and think of areas where there is kind of despair. It could be an illness, it could be relationships, it could be financial in nature, it could be various things. But what is it where a little bit of hope has to be instilled? And what is that source of hope that we can turn to? Because just as every night is followed by a day, we definitely have something good coming our way in the future. We cannot not believe that. At least we can hope for it. It keeps us going. There are so many stories of people, who have escaped from they're prisoners of war, and they have to escape. Hope is the only thing that keeps them going. So this is about hope, and I really like this picture because despite all the destruction and the barren area around this little boy, he still has the lamp and he's lighting it, and there is hope, there is life. There is life here. So perhaps a reminder to us that hope is always there. Like light is always there, we just have to turn to it. Similarly, hope is always there, we just have to turn to it. As I was making these slides, I was also thinking about my own life, and I was thinking about the same thing that I am talking about. So nothing extraordinary, but it really gives a lot of strength. He also says, the prayer also says that from darkness lead me to light. So one thing is that wherever there is no light, there is darkness. So that is one way to look at it. And light could be something that makes you see things. So light could also mean a kind of intelligence. Sometimes we get bogged down by our problems because we don't find a way, we don't find a solution to them. We don't see a solution to them. And sometimes all we need to do, it's like, we are walking inside a dark area. So it's a dark room and we are walking, we don't know where the furniture is, where, what we might hit. So we are very careful when we are walking, and we are filled with apprehension of not of the nice kind. Right? But supposing someone comes and switches on the light, then we can see everything clearly. So in our life, is there an area which we are unable to understand, which we are unable to find a challenge, which we are unable to find a solution to? And what can we do actually to bring the light there? Can we keep on reflecting on it time and again? So with Guru Purnima, one thing that comes to my mind is the word Guru. So I have learned in pranic healing that the word Guru actually means the dispeller of darkness. So can we turn to a Guru? And Gurus come in various forms. I mean, we may have a designated Guru, but sometimes, the solutions and the light comes from the most unlikely sources. So the Guru doesn't come and stand in front of us and tell us things. Maybe there are messengers that the Guru has. And from the universe, there are answers that we get. So to me, getting answers to problems is also light. So in a way, all these aspects are related. Whatever we have been talking about, everything is related, because if you look at it, then even nirasha or despair is a kind of darkness. So the prayer basically says that from darkness lead me to light. There is an intuition sometimes that we get, and that actually solves our problems. No, that sometimes we feel, no, that maybe I should call this person, or maybe I'm thinking about a certain person and the person also understands and calls us, and our problem gets solved. Many times we must have faced these situations. So our hope, our ability to just let go of all the resentment we are holding on to, so that we can do something constructive, everything helps us to see light. But light essentially is just like switching on the light in a room which is dark. Light makes us see everything the way it is, not the way we want it to be, but the way it is. And that sometimes is the turning point in our life where we start solving life's challenges. So this prayer also invokes to the God that, from darkness lead me to light. Where there is darkness, let there be light. And the last thing that it talks about, and then the prayer goes on, but this is the last thing I have picked up from there, is from sadness lead us to joy. Now, when we see a happy baby in a happy pose, so a happy pose is something where you lie down on your back and you hold your feet like this baby is doing, and that is supposed to actually bring about joy. Okay, so babies don't have anger unless they have a need, like they express that in terms that they're hungry or they're uncomfortable or something like that. Normally they are happy because they are not bogged down by life's problems. They have not tasted despair. They don't have anything that they hold against people. They in fact depend a lot on people, and they get their needs met. So wherever there is absence of joy, there is a kind of a sadness. In the pandemic, we have seen a lot of people going through depression. At some point of time, even I had such low energy. I was very much aware of that. And I said that why do I have this? So because I was aware of it, I was able to, come to terms with it. And then I started meeting friends and, talking to friends and generally doing things that I like to do. But there was a time when, there was absolute despair and sadness. So what is it in our life that we can do that will bring us true joy? It may be different for different people. So for some people who like to play a sport, say like to play golf, maybe going to a golf course and playing even for a little while is a source of joy. Sometimes spending time with children is a source of joy. Sometimes listening to music is a source of joy. Sometimes just irritating people is a source of joy as well. But what is it that truly gives us that inner joy? Are we in touch with that? Have we lost touch with that? So can we get in touch with things that we truly like? So imagine yourself way back when you were a child. What is it that you really loved doing? If you can connect with that, you can start doing that again. That is a source of joy. To some people, food is a source of joy. To some people, politics is a source of joy. So a healthy debate and discussion is a source of joy. So whatever it is that brings us true joy. So for some people, going out into a beach or going to the hillside is joy. So we have enough opportunity during the pandemic actually to get in touch with things that give us joy, because there are such huge periods of silence during this time. There are things that are beyond our control. We are forced to live in silence. So why don't we use this as an opportunity actually to find the sources of joy? Now, when we do the meditation on Twin Hearts and we actually bless the earth with all these energies while saying this prayer, we are passing all these energies. We are becoming a channel to pass all these energies to the earth, to every person, every being on the earth, to all living things. And that is a hope. There's a hope and a belief and a faith that is actually changing energies of the world. So what we'll do today is we have about for about 20 minutes or so, we will practice a very, very simple meditation, which is just being aware. So I will guide you through it. All you need to do is just take off your glasses if you wear your glasses. Take off your glasses, keep them on your side, sit in a very, very comfortable position. It won't be very long, just 20 minutes. But we can do this anytime. And the beauty of this meditation is at the end of it, we are going to feel a sense of calm and peace. And what does that do? That actually removes the energy from sadness, from darkness, from despair, from doubt, from injury, from hatred. And it brings the focus. So whenever we have silence, this is our natural state of being: to love, to pardon, to have faith, to hope, to be the light, and to be joyful. That is a very natural state of our being, which gets polluted by other energies. So by being still, what we are doing is we are actually clearing out our aura, because we are putting our awareness not on these energies, but on other things. So when we are not energizing something, it ceases to exist for us. So for a period of time, we are going to continue to feel that sense of peace and calmness. And it's so simple that you can just sit in any place and you can just do it. Okay? So if you're ready, then just sit in a comfortable position. One more reminder, if you're wearing a belt or something, you can just take off the belt so that you're comfortable. It's not tight on your waist. Take off your glasses and just close your eyes. Take a deep breath and exhale all the dirty, used up energy in your system. Continue to inhale and exhale deeply. However, allow your body to follow its natural rhythm of breathing. Do not force the rhythm on your body. Allow it to breathe normally. Make the breath a little bit deeper. As you're sitting, become aware of your head area. Take your awareness to your forehead, the entire back and the top of your head. Take your awareness to the back of your neck and right down your spine. Now, bring your awareness to your face, your eyes, your cheeks, your nose, your lips, your mouth, your tongue, your jaws, your ears, take your awareness down your chin, your throat, and your shoulders. Your right shoulder and your left shoulder. Take your awareness to your right arm, the upper arm, including the armpit, the elbow, the forearm, the palm, the front and the back of your hand, your thumb, your index finger, middle finger, ring finger, and little finger. Let us move to the left side. Be aware of your left shoulder, your armpit. Be aware of your upper left arm. Be aware of your elbow, your forearm, your palm, the back of your hand, your left thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger and little finger. Don't forget to continue to breathe. Be aware of your entire chest area, your rib cage, your heart, your lungs. Be aware of your diaphragm. Be aware of your entire torso. Be aware of your entire abdominal area. Be aware of your liver on the right hand side of your body. Smile at your liver. Smile at all your organs, your stomach, your pancreas, your large and small intestines, all the organs in the abdominal area, just smile at them. Be aware of your pelvic area. Be aware of your back, your lower back, your hips, the side of your hips. Be aware of your entire right leg, starting from the top of the leg, the upper part of the leg, the knees, the shin and the calf, the heel, the sole, the ankle, the top of the right foot, your big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, and fifth toe. Be aware of the upper part of your left leg. The thigh area, the knees, the shin and the calf, the heel, the sole of your foot, the big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe, the top of your foot, and the ankle. Be aware of the place where you're sitting. Feel all the areas that are touching the surface of your sofa or your chair. Do you have an AC in the room? Do you have the fan going? What are the sounds you can hear in the place where you're sitting? Be aware of all the sounds in the room. Now, take your awareness outside the room. Can you hear something from your kitchen? Can you hear something from other rooms in your house? Can you hear something from your lobby? Now let us move away from the room as well, the whole house as well. Are you in a place where you can hear the sounds from the road? If yes, be aware of those sounds. Can you hear the cars on the road, the honking cars? Can you hear voices from outside the building or your house? Slowly bring your awareness back to your own house. Come back to your own room. Be aware of the place where you're sitting. Be aware of your breathing. Be aware of the inhalation and the exhalation. Continue to focus on your breathing. If your mind goes somewhere else, bring it back to your breathing. Do not control your breathing. Allow it to flow naturally. Allow your whole body to relax. Continue to keep your focus on your breathing. Just follow your breath as you inhale and you exhale. Very gently, smile and open your eyes. You can move your fingers and your toes. Just rub your hands together and place it on top of your eyes. Keep your eyes closed. So that is the end of the session from my side. Ritu, over to you. I hope you enjoyed this meditation and you found it easy and very, very relaxing. So we can do this anytime. Like, and a lot of chaos is going on outside in our homes or around us. We can just sit and find a quiet place and just center ourselves. I find this very useful and easy. So, um, yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Anupama. And like I always say, your meditations just make us go into a trance, and I find it extremely difficult to come out of it for a while, and your whole body gets into that relaxation mode. So, actually speaking, given half a chance, I'm sure all those who have done it would just like to relax and just keep the eyes closed and not do anything. I can see Swarna auntie, she's actually nodding her head because I can make out that she's really gone into that kind of a stage. So, and as usual, your sessions are always so enlightening and so nicely put. And जैसे आप हमेशा forgiving वगैरह का कहते हो, I think last time also sometime we had heard a part of it, and now you've given a more more information on that, as so that forgiving people is so very important, and letting people go out of our system for us to be at peace is extremely important, which we never end up doing. And the fact is that I think half our heartburns are caused because of the fact that we are unable to let go. So I think this exercise that you said in the beginning, where we have to close our eyes and in a circle of people and just forgive, and then just say namaste to them and say, okay, you remain in your space and let us be at peace, is like something I think all of us should end up doing it. So thank you so much, Anupama. And of course, the meditation at the end is always again something which all of us really like it. And jitna bhi aap, like when you talk about how to go about things in life and coming out of darkness, not letting it settle down inside us, which I think nowadays it is extremely important, because I think with this with the kind of things which are happening for the last 2 years, with the COVID being there, I think all of us are going into that stage wherein we feel sad, we feel little this thing, and we are unable to look at all the happy things. So even that baby's picture that you showed, I found that so cute, wherein with that poem you were trying to explain everything. And actually speaking, it is a baby's, mother baby is generally very happy until it needs something. And otherwise it's always smiling, gurgling, cheerful, laughing. And I think that is how we need to be. Not let the other things come on to us. If there's a need, there's a different thing, but otherwise that is how we should be always. So I love that particular pic especially, though the others are also wonderful. And letting go of hatred, letting go of things, it's absolutely necessary. And I think these are very small reminders that you give us when you talk about all these things,
I just like to just add just one thing that came to my mind. Sometimes, जब हम लोग सोचते हैं कि we have to let go of hatred, it seems like such a big task. So instead of letting go of hatred, let us bring a little bit of love. That is easy for us to do. So just like to dispel darkness, you just need to light a small lamp. Similarly, to let go of hatred, we just need to bring in a little bit of love, and that is easier to do than to let go of hatred, which is a very big task. So that's one strategy which I am following right now, because otherwise life seems like it cannot be solved.
I know, but though you're making it sound very easy, for a person for whom you have no affection, getting that affection is also a big thing, and it is a huge task by itself, because बहुत बड़प्पन चाहिए उसमें to let go of things also and say it is okay, no matter what that person has done or how that person is, I will still kind of take it in my stride and not going to be judgmental, and let me just start feeling something for that person. बहुत easily सब लोग नहीं कर पाते, because it's very easy just to bear a grudge and then carry on in life, even in small like it could be your workplace, it is at home, उसने ऐसा बोल दिया, इसने ये कर दिया, and there is that big wall which comes up. So I think that is something that we all need to learn, because personally I feel, you know, बहुत बड़ा दिल भी चाहिए to be doing this, and I'm sure though once we decide upon it, then it's definitely not a big task. So I think we should learn to let go and then start loving people. I think that's one way of, you know, getting over the hatred. So definitely something that I think all of us are going to start trying now. So with that, I would like to end this session. And Anupama, again, thank you so much for guiding us and manifesting a path for us to be more calmer and to be a better self. And in fact, दो लाइनें मुझे याद आ रही कि जिसे हम ढूंढ रहे हैं वो हमारे अंदर ही है, और यही है जो हमारे जीवन का सबसे बड़ा गिफ्ट है हमारे लिए, कि हमारे अंदर सब कुछ है पर हम बाहर ढूंढते, पर अगर हम उस गिफ्ट को यूज करना शुरू कर दे तो सब कुछ, you know, peaceful and calm हो जाएगा. We should just realize our inner strength and work towards building a better self of ourselves each day and every day with the small little things that we get to hear from, you know, very enlightened people like you. So thank you so much once again for being here with us and sparing your very, very valuable time. And as usual, it is always great to be with you. So thank you so much. And thank you so much, everyone, for being here with us. I'm sure you enjoyed the evening, and in fact, I was seeing some elders write that, you know, they found the session very, very enlightening and very, very nice. So yes, you're getting a lot of thumbs up here. I don't know if you can see it or not.
I feel really, really blessed whenever I come here, and I'm not saying this to make everyone feel nice, because it's really, I think what I take away in terms of, you know, the blessings is much more than what I bring to the table. So thank you very much.
So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you once again, Anupama. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in here today for this Elder Up program. And of course, our usual session for More TV goes on as usual for tomorrow with our 8 a.m. session of physiotherapy and the regular session for the practice sessions. And then, of course, we meet here again at 7:25 p.m. sharp for our Elder Up program and our Elder First Festival. So till then, be peaceful, be calm, learn to let go of a lot of things, and keep smiling and be happy. Thank you and take care, everyone. Okay, Praveen ji is trying to say something which I can't hear. So I don't know if I can unmute you all. Just let me see. Hanji Gaurav ji. हाँ, just give me 1 minute, then you can end, please. अगर unmute कर सके तो हाँ, मुझे नहीं पता how to unmute. Okay, हो गया.
I wanted to say कि meditation तो उन्होंने करा दी, उन्होंने हमारे को ताले तो खोलने भी बता दिए, और हमने अपनी चाबियां पता नहीं कहाँ गुम करके रखी हुई हैं, जो फॉरगिवनेस की है वो भी निकालनी चाहिए क्योंकि आप इतनी बातों के इतने बड़े इश्यूज जो बनते हैं, that's not good. हमें we should try to do what she has taught us.
Absolutely. वही मैं कह रही हूँ, बहुत छोटी बातें हैं.
इतनी बड़ी उम्र में आके भी दिल भी बड़ा कर लो, दिल छोटे मत करते
ये इनफैक्ट बिल्कुल, आई थिंक किसी भी एज में हो, एक बड़ा दिल रखना बड़ा इम्पोर्टेंट है, एंड बहुत इसके लिए हिम्मत चाहिए to be doing it, and you have to be a very forgiving person to be doing that.
Right.
And it is very easy to keep grudges, very difficult to let go. कहना बड़ा आसान है, but hopefully we learn to follow it. I do it to quite an extent. मुझे अगर बुरा भी लगता है तो मैं एक दिन बहुत ज़्यादा irritated रहती हूँ, but then I just by the next day I'm like, okay, ठीक है, let go. So yeah, so I think उतना सा, because we all are humans, but I think it's so.
रितु जी, हाँ, मैं यही पूछने वाला था, आप कैसे करते हो?
नहीं, मुझे गुस्सा वैसे भी कम आता है, और अगर मैं इरिटेट भी होती हूँ तो मैं बहुत जल्दी उस पर रिएक्ट नहीं करती हूँ. बेसिकली आई हैव अ लॉट ऑफ पेशेंस टू काइंड ऑफ.
वो तो देखते हैं हम रोज, दैट इज ओके.
तो हमारे साथ इतनी कर, हमारे जैसे बंदों को टॉलरेट करते हो तो
नहीं बिल्कुल नहीं. यहाँ तो कुछ नहीं. वो तो दिस इज लाइक यू नो every time everybody is in good this thing. बीच में कुछ हो जाता है, but that's human nature. So वो तो थोड़ा and थोड़ा सा इंटरेस्टिंग तो कुछ लाइफ में होना चाहिए. नहीं तो इमेजिन कोई गॉसिप भी नहीं, कुछ नहीं होगा तो हाउ बोरिंग इट विल बी.
यार थोड़ा सा नमक, थोड़ा सा मसाला तो होना ही चाहिए, चटपटा होना चाहिए सब कुछ.
बिल्कुल. So thank you so much everyone.
Thank you.
And see you all tomorrow.
Thank you. Good night.
Good